Welcome back to the deep dive. It is February 9th, 2026. And, looking at the news this week, I've had this very specific, slightly unsettling feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like that moment in a movie, where the dinosaur ripples the water in the cup. The ground is shaking, but you can't quite see the T-Rex yet.
That is a very vivid image to start our Monday with.
Well, it feels accurate because I think we're looking at a defining moment in technology history right now, and I'm not sure everyone realizes the scale of it. We're shifting from the era of AI that just talks to you.
And the chatbots, the poet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The email writers, we're moving from that to an AI that actually goes out into the world and does things.
It really is a watershed moment. For the last few years, we've been in that generative phase. It was all about creating content. But what we're seeing in just the first few weeks of 2026 is the dawn of the full-stack AI agent.
And to help us navigate this, we're unpacking a really heavy-hitting article. It's titled The Dawn of the Full-Stack AI Agent Era. And it basically argues that while we were all distracted by which model could write better code, the actual economic logic of the world changed right under our feet.
It did. And the source material sets the scene perfectly by looking at two major events that kicked off 2026. Two events that seem different, but are actually, two sides of the same coin.
Right. Let's set that stage. So first up, we have Elon Musk at the Davos Forum, right at the start of the year.
Musk made a very specific argument at Davos. He said that whether AI truly integrates into society isn't about how smart the model is anymore. We've sort of hit the point of diminishing returns on just smartness.
Okay.
The new frontier is the closed loop in the physical world. He's talking about robots Optimus, giving AI legs.
So Musk is basically saying, stop making the brain bigger, give the brain a body.
Precisely. But then, literally days later, on February 3rd, just last week, Sam Altman takes the stage at the Cisco AI Summit, and he offers the counterpoint, but for the digital world.
And what was his take? Because usually those two aren't exactly singing from the same hymn sheet.
Well, Altman's focus was entirely on the digital side. And he said something that I think we were going to look back on as the quote of the year. He stated that AI's value has shifted from answering questions to completing work.
Completing work. That feels like such a simple phrase, but when you really chew on it, the implications are just huge. It's the difference between a consultant and an employee.
That's the perfect analogy. Musk gave AI legs, Altman gave AI hands. And the mission of this deep dive is to understand why 2026 is being called the year of the full-time AI agent. This isn't just about better automation tools. It is a fundamental restructuring of how things get done.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of this. The source material talks about this concept of the closed loop. Now, I've used macros in Excel. I've used Zapier scripts. We've had automation for 20 years. So why is this closed loop any different from a script I wrote back in 2015?
That is the million-dollar question. To really understand the difference, we have to look at the anatomy of this loop. The source breaks it down into 4 conditions. First, receive a target. You tell it what to do.
Right.
Second, mobilize tools. It needs access to software.
Okay, so far that is exactly like a macro. I tell Excel to sum a column, it uses the sum tool.
True. But step 3 is exercise authority or permissions. And step 4 is deliver results.
It's that step 3 authority that feels different.
It is the nuclear weapon variable, as the source calls it. But to answer your question about why this is different from a script, think about fragility. Old automation was blind. It operated on coordinates. If you wrote a script to click a button on a website and the website updated and moved that button 1 inch to the right, what happened?
The script crashes, it clicks empty space, and the whole thing just fails.
Exactly. It was dead automation. The new AI agents we're seeing in 2026, like Anthropic's computer use or OpenAI's rumored operator, they're fundamentally different because they use multimodal perception.
Multimodal perception. Break that down for us.
It means the AI isn't just reading code. It's literally looking at the screen. It sees the pixels, just like you do. It recognizes the submit button, not because of the code behind it, but because it looks like a button that says submit.
So if the button moves, the AI just looks over and clicks it anyway?
Yes. And this leads to the most critical part of the closed loop, the reflection mechanism.
This was the part of the article that really stuck with me. Because my biggest fear with giving AI authority is that it just goes rogue. Like, I ask it to buy a plane ticket, and it buys 50 non-refundable tickets to the wrong city.
A very valid fear.
Right.
But that's where the reflection mechanism comes in. In a dead script, if an error happens, say the credit card is declined or the flight is sold out, the script just stops. It errors out.
Right, and then I have to go in and fix it.
But these agents have a feedback loop. If the AI clicks purchase and a red box pops up saying invalid date, the agent reads the screen, it interprets the error, and it thinks, oh, I need to select a date in the future, and then it tries again.
Wow.
It corrects itself without you ever knowing there was a problem.
That is incredibly convenient, but also, does that mean it's logging into my accounts? It's typing my passwords?
It is. It's operating the computer as a user. It has hands.
See, that's where I get a little sweaty palms. We are talking about giving software the ability to execute financial transactions and make decisions.
We are. And that shift from advisor, the old AI, to executive officer, the new AI, is what allows it to move from a novelty to an enterprise reality.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the first crab eaters.
The first crab eaters, I love that idiom. The brave souls who look at the weird spiky thing and say, you know what, I bet that tastes good.
And in this case, the spiky thing is enterprise-level AI integration. We aren't talking about tech demos anymore. We're talking about companies like Salesforce with Agentforce and Microsoft's Copilot integrating into the boring, messy legacy systems that actually run the world.
That's a key point the source makes is AI isn't waiting for us to build shiny new databases. It's learning to use our old clunky ones.
Right. It's handling permission management and audit compliance within the systems that already exist.
Yeah.
But let's look at the results. The source highlights Klarna, the finance giant.
Yeah, I wanted to stop on this one because the numbers here are just staggering. Klarna has an AI assistant that handles 2/3 of their customer service inquiries.
2/3. And the source equates that workload to 700 full-time employees.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here. Companies put out flashy press releases about efficiency all the time just to pump their stock price. Is this actually working? Or is this just a way to fire 700 people and make the customer experience miserable because you can never reach a human?
That is the skepticism we should have. Usually I'd agree with you, but the metric here isn't just calls deflected, it's resolution time. The source highlights that the average resolution time for a customer inquiry dropped from 11 minutes to just 2 minutes.
Wait, so it's faster?
It's significantly faster. And reportedly, customer satisfaction scores didn't drop. In some segments, they actually went up.
Why?
Because people don't actually want to talk to a human, they just want their problem fixed.
So it's not just a cheaper service, it's a better service.
That is the economic unlock. And look at the shift in the human role there. The humans at Klarna aren't the primary workers for these inquiries anymore. They've become exception handlers.
The backup generators.
Exactly. They only step in when the system fails. And we see this elsewhere. Duolingo cut almost all their junior translation roles. The pipeline now is AI generates, AI proofreads, AI formats. Humans just do the final sanity check.
And Cognizant in the IT sector.
They've got AI programmers. These agents accept a coding task, they write the code, debug it, and deploy it. The human role is reduced to literally clicking confirm.
It's interesting because for a long time we told ourselves, okay, manual labor might go, but coding, creative work, that's safe. But it seems like anything that follows a rigid logic loop, even a complex one, is up for grabs.
And that brings us to the economic logic beneath all of this. Because companies aren't doing this just because it's cool. They are doing it because the math is undeniable.
So let's talk money. The source breaks this down into a few key points. The first one is the collapse of marginal cost.
This is economics 101 on steroids. Usually, if you want to process 10,000 more insurance claims, you need to hire more adjusters. That costs money. Salaries, benefits, training.
Right.
But with an AI agent, once the system is built, the cost of processing one additional claim is effectively zero.
It's profit elasticity. You can scale output without scaling costs.
Correct. But then there is the second point, and this is the one that I think is going to make some listeners uncomfortable. The source discusses human labor as risk cost.
Yeah, I circled this one in red. It sounds incredibly dehumanizing. Risk cost.
It sounds harsh, but from a systems engineering perspective, it's a powerful argument. In a closed-loop system, a human doing repetitive work isn't just an execution cost. They're a risk factor.
Because we're human. Because we get tired.
We get tired. We have bad days. We misread a decimal point. We get emotional. We are essentially entropy.
Ouch.
I know. But compare that to an AI agent. If an agent makes a mistake, it is logged, it is auditable, you can patch the code, and it never makes that specific mistake again. The goal of the system becomes removing the uncertainty of human behavior.
That paints a very specific, very cold picture of the future corporation. The source describes this shell company prediction. Can you visualize that for us? It's a striking image. Imagine a competitor in your industry. They don't have a giant headquarters. They don't have thousands of cubicles. They have maybe 5 core human decision makers.
5 people.
5 people. And reporting to them are 500 tireless, 247 AI agents. The source frames this as a clash of civilizations. The old civilization relies on piling up manpower human bodies to get things done. The new civilization uses compute power to hedge against cost.
Okay, that is a genuinely bleak image. A company of 5 people running an empire of bots. I think a lot of people listening, myself included, are picturing their own office right now and doing some uncomfortable math. If I'm not one of the 5, where am I?
It is uncomfortable. It's meant to be. This is a restructuring of the nature of work.
So before we spiral into total existential dread, let's pivot. The source material doesn't just say game over. It actually maps out a survival strategy. It lists industries that are in the danger zone, but it also gives us a roadmap out. First, who should be worried? The predictions are very specific. First, finance and audit. Specifically, data reconciliation. If your job is checking if spreadsheet A matches spreadsheet B, the AI agent can do that faster, cheaper, and without error.
Check.
Who else? E-commerce and logistics, specifically regarding returns and claims. That is a rules-based process. If X, then Y. Perfect for an agent. And finally, software outsourcing. The junior coding farms. If you are just stacking code based on a spec, that role is facing physical elimination, to quote the source.
Physical elimination. They aren't mincing words, but surely there are hurdles. It can't be this easy to just switch to AI, otherwise everyone would have done it by last Tuesday.
Oh, absolutely. We are still in the dawn, not high noon. There are 4 hard challenges standing in the way of that shell company ideal.
Give us the barriers. What's stopping the bots?
First is system access. Can the AI actually talk to the 20-year-old mainframe in the basement? Second is permission limits. This is the big one. Do you trust the AI with your wallet?
That's the trust gap.
Right. Third is data black holes. If an agent reads your screen, is it sending that proprietary data back to the model vendor? Privacy is a huge bottleneck. And finally, liability. If the AI agent negotiates a bad contract, who goes to jail? The user, the developer, the AI.
The lawyers are going to have a field day with that one. So we have a buffer zone while the legal and technical frameworks catch up. But for the listener, the person sitting at their desk right now, what do they do to prepare? The source gives some really actionable advice.
It does, and I think it's really empowering advice. It revolves around a single mindset shift. Switch from executor to definer.
Executor to definer. That sounds great on a LinkedIn post, but can we make that concrete? What does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.?
Sure, let's take a data analyst. The executor mindset says, I need to learn the syntax for this complex SQL query to pull the Q3 sales data. They pride themselves on knowing the code.
Okay.
The definer mindset says, I need to figure out why Q3 sales dropped in the Northeast region.
I see. The executor is proud of the tool. The definer is proud of the question.
Exactly. The AI can write a SQL in seconds. But the AI doesn't know that the sales dropped because of a hurricane in Florida, unless you tell it to look for that correlation. The definer sets the parameters of the investigation. The executor just runs the search.
So the advice is, stop obsessing over the how, the syntax, the formatting, the button clicking. Focus entirely on the what, the goal, the strategy, the definition of success.
Yes. The future role is one definer leading 100 agents. Your value comes from your ability to define a clear, profitable target and then orchestrate the agents to hit it.
Okay, so be the general, not the soldier. Tick number 2 was find permission interfaces.
This is about getting your hands dirty now. Don't wait for your company to roll this out. Start building your own digital asset package. Treat AI tools like interns.
So actually practice delegating.
Yes. Learn how to give them authority in small ways. Figure out where they break. Figure out how to prompt them to fix their own errors. The person who knows how to manage a team of AI agents effectively is going to be incredibly valuable because they have figured out that trust layer personally.
And the third tip. This one is for the people who maybe aren't tech obsessed. The deep water zones.
Love this concept. Go where the AI cannot close the loop. There are things an agent simply cannot do because it lacks a body, a soul, or a shared human experience.
Like what?
Complex interpersonal games. High-stakes negotiation where you need to read the room, read the body language, sense the hesitation.
Right.
Also, deep emotional connections.
Yeah.
Therapy, mentorship, leadership.
And aesthetic decisions, right?
Yes. AI can copy a style, but it can't invent a new cultural movement. It has no taste, only statistics. These are the non-standard areas. Humanity's last fortress.
So if your work involves ambiguity, emotion, and high-stakes human trust, you are in the deep water. The AI agents are stuck in the shallows of logic and data.
Precisely. If you can define the work, or if you can do the work that requires being human, you win. If you're just moving data from box A to box B, you need to move to deep water fast.
So to synthesize all this, it is February 2026. The storm isn't coming. It is here.
It is here. And the source uses a beautiful metaphor. The wind blows down rigid trees, but lifts up those with wings.
If you are rigid, if you insist on doing things the way you did in 2020, you're in trouble. But if you can adapt, if you can become a definer, there is so much opportunity here.
It's about leverage. We are being handed the greatest leverage tool in history. The question is whether you use it to lift yourself up or if you let it bury you.
And that leads us to our final thought for you. We talked about permission and authority. We are handing over the keys to execution.
Right. And the source poses a question that I think everyone should sit with today. It's not about efficiency. It's about trust. The question is, which task would you dare to give an AI full financial authority over right now?
I was thinking about this during the show, and honestly, I wouldn't even let it buy my socks yet. I'm too much of a control freak.
And that is your current boundary with the future. But I bet you by next year, that line will have moved.
That is a terrifying and exciting thought. Find your new continent in this intelligent age, everyone. Don't just tread water.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.